Hello everyone and welcome to NewTek and today's talk with NewTek Chief Technology Officer Dr. Andrew Cross. He's known as the visionary behind the NewTek TriCaster. We'll be talking about some of the challenges and opportunities that the future holds in video production, along with some of the concepts that went into the design of the TriCaster and the new TriCaster 8000 live multi-camera production system. At any time during this webcast, feel free to ask any questions you like in the question box located on this web page. We're going to be taking as many questions as we can in the time that we've allotted for this program. And you can also find out which TriCaster is right for you from the new entry-level TriCaster 40 all the way to the TriCaster 8000. And you can find out about that at newtek.com. But right now, to speak with us about the development of TriCaster, I'd like to welcome Dr. Andrew Cross.
It's wonderful to be here.
Well, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be in this webcast. Andrew, TriCaster today represents many years of development. What inspires this development?
So NewTek have been doing video for over 25 years now, and Tim Jennison, the founder of the company, he set out to make it so that anybody could create professional looking video, whether you were somebody at home right the way up to broadcast TV. And so making broadcast video accessible to everybody and democratizing the process has been one of the things that's driven us all these years. So an interesting thing that I've noticed over the last few years is that people have become, pretty much all of us have become TV critics. So my kids, and I've got pretty young kids, they're 5 years old, and my kids can tell the difference between professionally shot video and something that I happen to have hand shot on my iPhone. And that just highlights that as we've all got TV around us all the time today, that we all know what professional video and what broadcast quality video looks like. And so it's become increasingly important for us to make products and that allow it to pass that smell test, that it just looks like it belongs on TV. And so enabling people to do this has been one of the things that that has driven us and continues to drive us every day.
So the audience is becoming more sophisticated. How has the production world kind of kept up with everything?
Well, that's a great question, because actually if we went back, if we could teleport back about 30 years and you looked at a traditional show, in many ways it would look very similar to how things are done today. Yet the irony is if you had a producer from that show and teleported them forwards to today, they wouldn't recognize any of what we're doing. And so there's kind of this weird mix where a lot of the way we deliver video, the way we shoot video and so on has changed. A lot of the production tools that go along with that just haven't progressed with the times. And this is one of the things that we've spent a lot of time looking at, thinking about, is what are the needs of TV producers today? So there are some obvious examples. Things like the internet did not exist before. And yet it's become the primary delivery mechanism for video, certainly in North America today and increasingly all around the world that's happening. And yet a lot of the tools were just never designed to film and produce video for that format. And so this is one of the things that we're looking at with our product line, and you can see this all over the TriCaster, that we're looking at the new ways that video is delivered. There was never any concept of second screen. There were never pre and post game shows that you could put on the internet and draw an audience around outside of your primetime broadcast. And so when you look at broadcast today and you look at TV production and everything that's happened, it's just not the same world it was before. And that is the thing that drives us as we look at products today, are the things they need to do and the problems that our customers and TV producers are needing to solve. Okay.
So how does the traditional equipment out there, how does that fit into these new trends?
Well, that's a very good question, because in many ways, you can shoot great looking video. You have been able to for 30 years, but the key comes down to how you can reuse that, how you can deliver that. So, traditional tools, they never knew how to do a live stream. They never knew that you were going to take the other angles of your shots and then present them to people on a second screen. And yet these have become increasingly important things. Today, TV producers are needing to produce more and more content for less money in less time. And they don't need to do that. They need to produce content that can get reused on the website, onto iPads and iPhones, that can then be chopped up and shown in other shows and reused in all these different ways. And these are problems that traditional video equipment just didn't solve. So things like ISO recording in the professional TriCaster line just fundamentally changes things, because now you don't walk away from the show with your one program out feed, you're walking away with all the material that's created it. So if you need to reuse it, you just have it. And so this is really changing what you can do with that show. It goes from being, hey, you got one output, you sent that to its destination, to a show where you actually walk away with all the material that was created to the show. So not only do you have your packaged show that's done, but you've got everything that went into it. So you can reuse that, you can put it onto the web, you can stream it, you can give it for other uses.
So traditional gear, I mean, it has been dealing with that, but only on kind of a building block approach. You buy more and more pieces of equipment, and of course then you need a technician that knows how to make all of that work together.
Well, actually, so it's true that you could put a lot of these pieces together if you had the space and the money. But as I just said a few seconds ago, with what's happening in the economy, with what's happening with TV, with the increased demand, the number of channels, the number of hours of media that's being delivered, the number that need to go onto the web and so on, the amount of money that can be dedicated to a particular show is not increasing, it's decreasing. And so even though you might have been able to afford, to put all this stuff together before, the economics of that just don't work anymore. And that's one of the things that has driven the TriCaster, is that it's allowed you to do all of this stuff. It's taken what you maybe could have afforded to put in a truck before. I'm not sure that it actually, you could have got it out of the parking lot, it might have been so heavy. But you would have put all this equipment together, but you just couldn't afford to send it somewhere today. And so what we're doing is enabling those shows to even exist at all.
Right. So in other words, it's allowing new ideas to come to fruition, allowing producers to have access to the same tools that are on a big 40-foot HD truck, but now at a level that makes it affordable to produce different types of programming that, like you said, otherwise wouldn't be able to be produced.
Absolutely. I mean, you could not take a 40-foot truck to a high school sports game, and yet the expectation is that high school sports game looks just as good as where you might have taken that 40-foot truck just a couple of years ago, and we're what enable that.
And again, we know that TriCaster is not meant to replace truckloads of equipment, but again, it brings that technology to a level that either a very small crew or even a single person can create.
So
network style show.
And we've one of the things we strive for is that a single operator is able to completely use the system. Now, of course, in more sophisticated productions, you probably want to have more than that, and you always need people to run cameras and things like that. But that is what we consider as one of the primary things. If a single guy can use it, then you could have a team and do something even more elaborate and more sophisticated with that.
Okay, so now I think we're going to take a question that's been submitted from Ben McNeil. Ben says, what would you say is the future of internet television, and how will it fit into a wider media landscape?
Okay, so first of all, and this is my opinion, but broadcast TV is not going away. I mean, I think there is still a need for live sports, live news, live weather, and and I think that that's going to continue. But the reality is that growth of video on the internet is just exploding. In fact, I was preparing a presentation just a few weeks ago, and I had the statistic that seemed very incredibly convenient. Actually, it was that 51% of all internet use this year so far had been for video use. And the irony is that just before that presentation, I went back and I got the updated number, and in North America for September, 60% of all primetime internet traffic was for video. That is an incredible number. And I mean, let's be serious, nobody thinks that's going down. And so it's very, very clear that internet delivery of video is the future. Absolutely. I think the broadcast TV is not going away, but the scope of delivery over the internet is growing, and it's exploding at a rate that even I find hard to believe. Now, what this does is this enables all sorts of new forms of delivery. It's much easier to put your show out there. It's much quicker to put your show out there, and it's not just about shows either. It allows customers to talk, companies to talk to their customers more easily. It allows for interaction. It allows for new ideas to be presented, and and all of this can be done over the internet now. And so it's not just about the big networks that are gatekeepers for all content we see. Instead, we've now got this melting pot that allows all these new ideas to be presented, all these new things to come up, and and I think that the fact that it allows anybody to talk to anybody, and the audience for a lot of stuff, that they can do that now. That was just not possible even 5 years ago. That is how quickly this is changing.
Absolutely, and it seems that, you know, it really spans every age, but if you want to reach a younger audience, the majority of younger audiences is turning to the internet as opposed to traditional television.
You're actually kind of making me feel old now. But you know, heck, you know, my family, we watch pretty much all our TV on the internet now. We don't have cable. And you know, and so it's not just the young people, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. You know, that I think that increasingly more and more people are doing this, and you know, as I said, it's just hard to imagine that this trend is going to be reversed. And so, you know, even if you are on broadcast, you can't make a show today where you don't consider the internet angle for that show as well. Mm-hmm. And there are lots of those. You know, it is increasingly the case that you want to have a pre-show stream that you know that sets up for the show.
Like X Factor.
Absolutely, X Factor is a great example. They use the TriCaster in pre and post game show events, and you know, and so yes, post show events are actually really big, and those are really good because what they do is they help you keep that audience that you attracted on the big prime time outlet, and then continue to talk to them, continue to keep them part of the show, and obviously then Facebook and all the social media helps tie all this together, and so it's no longer, even though you might have a primetime show, mm-hmm. there is this whole infrastructure and this whole environment around it of all these other parts that are on the internet. And and there are all these new ideas coming up in the way to use that, the way to to bring new people in and to involve the audience in the show, and that's just changing television.
Right. Well, that's a great question, Ben. I think now would be a good time to take a look at some of the new TriCaster technology. Now, we're going to be back to talk a little bit more with Andrew, but right now I want to turn things over to Don Ballance to show you some of the highlights of the new TriCaster 8000.
Hi everyone. As Rex mentioned, I'd like to take a few minutes to take you through the TriCaster 8000 and show you how you can start creating larger shows and add more social interactivity into your programs, yet do it using the same or less resources than you may already be using. For those of you who don't know, TriCaster 8000 is our most powerful integrated multi-camera production system, and it's all contained in a single 4-unit rack-mount chassis. It comes with a complete switcher control surface, putting all of the power of a complete HD production facility right at your fingertips. So how can you make your bigger shows easier to produce with TriCaster 8000? Let's start with the inputs. Bigger shows usually mean more cameras. The TriCaster 8000 features a 24-channel production switcher with 8 dedicated multi-format video inputs to accommodate the most challenging productions. Say, for instance, you have a mix of old and new equipment. This can typically lead to a myriad of converters and adapters to get all the formats and resolutions to work together. With TriCaster, you can easily mix high definition and standard definition video in both SDI or analog in various resolutions and formats, all in a single production. This gives you maximum flexibility to use cameras and other equipment with no need for external converters. No other system offers this much format flexibility out of the box. It just makes your life easier. Now, if you have a production that needs more than 8 inputs for additional cameras, playback devices, or video feeds, it's not a problem. By adding an external router, you can then easily select from any number of inputs with the integrated router control system, providing you with dozens of additional input sources. It's also easy to bring in PowerPoint presentations, websites, Skype video, and other content from computers without taking up any of the video inputs. There are 2 individual network inputs just for bringing in computers. In fact, these network inputs can also be used to bring in other sources like NewTek TriCaster for instant replay, other TriCaster systems to create a production network, and the Chiron IP system for full motion broadcast graphics. Even content from Apple AirPlay devices like iPhones and iPads can be brought into the network inputs wirelessly, all without taking up any additional video input channels. Producing big shows can also mean a lot of outputs to feed projectors, display monitors, or isolated video feeds, so you'll need more than just a single program video output. TriCaster 8000 provides selectable video outputs that let you choose not only from main program out, but a separate mixed output or any of the individual video inputs as well. Creating bigger shows always means more production value, like video effects, virtual sets, and multiple layers of graphics. TriCaster 8000 includes a mix effects system that allows you to combine up to 4 video sources in a single channel to create popular new style effects like picture-in-picture displays, multi-screen interviews, and play-by-play commentary. So bigger shows are a major part of what you can accomplish with this one system. What if you need to achieve a big look but only have a small production space? No problem. That's where TriCaster 8000 virtual sets come into play. This enhanced multi-layered virtual set system lets you place up to 4 individual video channels in a single set. Here's Rex on one camera, stage left, Kiki way over on stage right, and one handsome devil sitting right here in the center. The 4th video channel is used to provide all of the animated graphics on set. From here, we can zoom into any area of the set with a multi-channel virtual set system that doesn't require camera operators. Using locked-off cameras, you can zoom and pan in the virtual environment manually, or by selecting your own camera positions using the effect presets. No other integrated production system gives you this kind of flexibility, and that's important because live producers are tasked with making their productions as visually appealing as possible. Think of TriCaster 8000 as your live video layering and compositing system. Here's an example. Mix effects buses can be re-entered or brought back into other channels to multiply the effect, as you can see here. We're using 1ME to transition between 2 video sources in the virtual on-set monitor. You can use any of the standard transitions or warp effects available on the main switcher, or easily create your own full-color custom animated transitions to give your productions a unique and polished look. On top of that, each Mix Effects bus also has 4 upstream keyers for additional layers of graphics and effects. TriCaster 8000 includes not just 1 or 2, but 8 separate Mix Effects buses, all with re-entry, and all with 4 upstream keyers for maximum effects capability, giving you plenty of options to handle the most demanding projects. Now, with all of these layering and effects possibilities, you'd think it would be challenging to control it all, but we made it easy with TriCaster 8000. We've incorporated recordable macros that let you recall your setups with the push of a button. Here's a macro that controls 2 graphics, a video clip, and a camera preset to reveal an over-the-shoulder motion graphic and pan the virtual camera shot. Macros tame even the most complex shows, allowing one person to do the job of many. You can record a sequence of events and then play that sequence back in real time to automate a part of your show. Or you can create macros that are applied all at once to make complicated mix effects setups easy and fast. As Rex mentioned earlier, the internet has changed the way we watch television. Social media allows viewers to interact with and talk about the programming that they enjoy. The key to any successful media program is to incorporate the use of these popular social media sites. But oftentimes, getting the word out and sharing content on the web can still be a challenge. TriCaster 8000 makes that easy too, with social media publishing that lets you post content to popular sites like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube directly from TriCaster 8000. This ensures that your content is available quickly online and your brand is consistent on every screen that people are watching, all as it happens. You can post stills during your production. Grab frames from all 8 video inputs, giving you plenty of imagery to upload to Facebook and Twitter during the production to get your show trending. You can mark sections of the video during the production while you're recording, allowing you to upload video highlights during the production directly to YouTube without stopping that recording process. You can even bring social media comments from your viewers back into your live production using the network capabilities I talked about earlier. And of course, the TriCaster's powerful live web streaming capabilities makes your show instantly available to viewers around the world. Now, it used to be that big multi-camera video production required expensive equipment and a large staff to run it all. The unique design of the TriCaster changes this paradigm forever with a cost-effective solution that's not only powerful, but makes it possible for you to produce shows that require just one operator to directly control practically every aspect of the production. You don't need camera operators to pan and zoom cameras within your virtual studios. Integrated media players replace racks of additional equipment. With automated features that let you roll in video clips, call up photos and still artwork, and apply titles and graphics all automatically. The integrated titling system includes a full library of professional graphics that can quickly be modified to fit your needs. It's almost like having a built-in art department. IsoCorder multi-channel recording technology built into the TriCaster 8000 lets you record up to 8 channels of full-resolution video with timecode directly to the removable hard drive system, eliminating the need for any additional recording equipment. With recordings that are directly compatible with Apple Final Cut, Avid Media Composer, Adobe Premiere, and other popular editing programs, allows you to deliver your project faster than ever. With TriCaster, you don't need excessive amounts of equipment or lots of production staff for your bigger productions. You may find yourself using fewer resources to produce more content. Now you can see how the TriCaster 8000 lets you achieve the look of a big TV production without a big TV production budget. So from end to end, the TriCaster is your complete solution for high-quality video production and delivery. It's much more than just a switcher. It's a live production and delivery platform that gives you access to the next generation of media, providing high-quality content to any screen you need. Back to you, Rex.
Thanks, Don. Andrew, TriCaster 8000 introduces some great new concepts in live production. Why don't you tell us about, let's start with the social media aspect of it all.
So social media on the TriCaster are actually part of a bigger system that we call publishing media. And the basic concept is this, which is you have a production switcher, and it's no longer the case that what you're doing is just sending video to one place. So what published media does is it takes the video, and while you're doing the live show, obviously, you can say, cut it up, you can set your mark-ins and outs as you're recording the show. And obviously the fact that we have ISO recording of all angles just gives us the whole show already on disk. But as you're cutting it up, it allows you to send it to all these different places. So you can, for instance, say, hey, I want this B angle to go onto Facebook, and that's going to go onto our company's feed or our team's feed. But you can also be pushing it via FTP to a website. You can be copying it off so that your edit suite over here has access to the media already before this show has ended. And so what you're doing is you're basically sitting there and you're just sending media into all these places so that it can be used for all these things in real time while the show is still going on.
So while you're producing your live program, you're also basically promoting it on Facebook and promoting it by being able to upload clips to YouTube.
Absolutely, and as I said earlier on, it's no longer about that program out feed. There are all these other parts of the show that are as much part of the show as the program out feed itself. And so driving these and pushing media into these is just truly well, it's both a revolutionary thing. I don't believe there is no other production switcher in the world that can do this, but it's also a crucial part of a modern production.
It's really, television watching has really changed, becoming a much more interactive activity. People not only are watching it, but they want to talk about it, they want to share things about it as well. So that really comes in as a good feature.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the way things are going, and this is what all, if you're a company, this is where all the exciting new ideas in marketing are coming from, about how you can take what you've got and extend it out to into other avenues and get other feeds and get reused content so that it can be repurposed in other places. And that's one of the things that we truly enable.
Now, you introduced TriCaster live set virtual sets several years ago, but TriCaster 8000 brings them up to a new level as well.
Absolutely. So, live sets are one of the things that we're the proudest of, and I really, truly, honestly believe that we have what is one of the most powerful virtual set systems in the world. And, on top of everything else we do. But in 8000, what we did is we went to a full 8 ME-row switcher. You know, there's lots of people who've got 2 ME-row switchers or 1 ME-row switchers, but you know, the reality is that you just really want to be able to layer stuff, put it together in a way that doesn't limit you. So no matter what the needs of your show are, you don't need to be thinking, how am I going to get from this shot to this shot because, hey, I had to come from this other shot and so I've run out of ME-rows. And so we just went to, basically all our inputs, all our virtual inputs are now ME-rows and support full mixing with reentrancy. But we didn't stop there. We actually made it so that you can layer up to 8 channels of video on any ME-row. So pretty much what we said to ourselves is, look, there need to be no limits in terms of the processing you can do with this thing. You know, we have the technology to do this. We need to make it so that the producer, you know, the limitations of the system that they're using no longer are a factor in any way in the show that they can produce. And that's been one of the things that's driven 8000.
And there's also the addition of some great new advanced special effects as well, aren't there?
Yeah, so we have what I believe is truly the most powerful effect system in the market, and we came up with, you know, this term transwarp, which is our new transition types. And these aren't just, hey, we have our station logo and we got to layer it on video, and then on this, you know, frame we'll switch out between A and B. You know, for some time we've been able to do full 2-source transitions where you can specify the alpha between A and B. But with the new system that's in 8000, you can even warp the layers underneath. So you could, for instance, have a ball that was thrown and shattered the screen into lots of pieces, and now those pieces would have live video on them, and it would reveal, you know, another layer underneath. Or you could have our world famous alien hand transition where an alien claw pulls the video down.
That's great. So it's just more new creative tools to be able to basically raise the production value.
Yes, I mean, producers should not be limited by their equipment. We need, you know, we see our system as the ultimate real-time compositing engine, and we need to enable the kind of effects that traditionally you'd only see if you were sitting and watching somebody using a high-end compositing patch. We need that to be in real time. We need that to be easy to use, and you know, we need to make that so that a single guy can do it all and produce a show that's going to blow their viewers away.
Now, when you set out to create the TriCaster 8000, when you set out to design it, what were some of the guidelines that you established? I mean, what were you setting out to accomplish when you said, okay, this is what we're going to make?
Well, obviously, we've talked a lot about the social and internet and so on, and so clearly one of the key things was we need to allow our customers and the users of our system to reach a wider audience than they traditionally could. That's truly crucial. That's part of video today. But beyond that, you know, we decided, look, you know, we need to take the switcher to the whole new level. All these other things, all these, you know, how many ME-rows it's got, how much media you can bring in, how you queue things up, that's no longer going to be a factor. And that's why we went straight to 8 ME-rows. We just don't want there to be any of the limits that have held people back in production. And so that really, in many ways, summarizes the 8000, which is it has no limits. Hey, we support upstream routers. You can have as many cameras hooked up to this thing as you want. We support up to 14 separate output feeds in different ways, shapes, or forms. So, hey, you can monitor pretty much anything you want. We've replaced, you know, you no longer need an expensive multi-viewer anymore. I mean, our multi-views are completely configurable. We have scopes built in, we have DDRs, we have frame buffers, watch folders. I mean, we have tried to take everything that somebody would ever want to do in a show, and heck, something that replaces that $12 million truck and put it into a single system.
And of course, ISO quarter on top of all that really rounds out the capabilities as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So ISO recording is really a key piece of technology that in many ways enables so many other things that you might want to do. So we've touched on the kind of the economics of production and how they've changed over the years, and you know, the fact that people are needing to do more and more for less money and less time than they, you know, than they ever have needed to before. But if you think about it, you know, if you were going to go and shoot some production, I would guess that a 1 hour show, you know, with a couple of camera angles, you know, that I'm going to be really generous and imagine that we have really a truly great nonlinear editor, you know, user, a real editor for it, you know, that might take 12 hours to produce a 1 hour show, and I'm probably being very generous there. The reality is that with ISO quarter, you know, what you can do is you can sit down, you can produce your show, you get a pretty good output, even if it's not your final.
From
You
the
got
live
to,
switch,
absolutely.
yeah.
You got a couple of things wrong, but the fact is, you have all the media that went into it, so you can go and correct those couple of takes that you got wrong, and so it cuts that 12-hour time down to pretty much real time. And so what this means is that show that used to take you a whole day to produce, hey, you can do 12 of them a day. I'm probably overstating that a bit, but if I could get a 12x pay raise, I'll take it. So
It's a pretty good deal.
it is, absolutely.
Right. Okay, so now I think it's time to go to questions. We've been collecting some of those, so why don't we go ahead and put up the first question. All right, Adam Lightplay asks, how soon can I make anyone with a smartphone one of my live camera people?
Well, there's probably a lot of different ways to do that. And I've seen a lot of people doing things like that right now. But this gives me I'm going to drop a little hint here that since we're close to Christmas, I can drop a little hint. But we're going to be shipping IVGA Pro really soon. Expect it before Christmas, I would say.
And what will that
So what IVGA Pro
do?
does is it allows you to capture full motion video, even of a sub window on any computer, and it's full motion with audio. So now you can be using you can have a machine running Skype or MSN Messenger or any messaging product, and you can actually use IVGA to allow you to kind of DJ your camera feeds off any source. On a separate machine, which makes it very easy to bring in external cameras, and they can be from anything that, say, for instance, supports Skype. I mean, you can even buy, it's certainly, and this is very common in Europe, actual handsets for Skype, so it's not even about smartphones anymore, and you'd be able to bring any one of those into a live production.
Okay, so IVGA Pro is going to be full frame rate?
Absolutely, it does full
and
frame rate.
Audio, right?
With audio, that's correct.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So look for that, another webcast exclusive. Let's take a look at the next question. Are there any plans to implement features for the second screen like you already did with the social media integration, especially creating more interactive virtual sets?
Well, so I'm going to answer that, I guess, in two pieces. In terms of second screen, we kind of have second screen out the box, with the product, because our social integration, so our Facebook integration, really gives you second screen, because every device you've got. I mean, hey, I've got my iPhone back here somewhere. There's a Facebook app for this, and I can follow feeds, say, from NewTek. And as you're uploading media as part of your show, it will be there on the Facebook feed. So pretty much any mobile device today, pretty much any platform today has got integration with social media. So you have a built-in second screen implementation out the box. Now, in terms of more interactivity in virtual sets, we actually take this to the next level already by things like hotspots and our tracking. As I could have a virtual hat on here, it'd be a Santa hat at this time of year, I guess. But so we have highly interactive virtual sets already, and so obviously you can integrate all of this stuff together and put it into these feeds, which can be used in in second screens and so on. So.
It's only limited by your imagination.
Absolutely, and as I've been answering this, I've been thinking, wow, you could then integrate data link into all of this and be pulling the data back down and integrating that back into your show, so that kind of close the loops where you're pushing stuff up, you're pulling it back down, you're using that to automate things within the switcher. I mean, honestly, there's so many options in what you could do here. It's kind of makes one's head boggle.
Yes, social media vortex.
Yes, exactly.
Spinning around.
The spinning vortex of data. So.
All right, let's see, we have another question. All right, Nathan Dolliver asks, with the addition of 3D technology being more prevalent in the computer online market, 3D gaming, YouTube's 3D support, etc., do you feel like NewTek is in a prime position in the video market to deliver a 3D mixer?
Actually, the answer is yes, although you wouldn't expect me to answer otherwise, but it really is yes. The 8000 can already be used for 3D. So
for stereoscopic 3D.
Absolutely. The TriCaster can be used for stereoscopic 3D, and you can do full 3D stereoscopic virtual sets, and we even have the effects built into the system to make an anaglyph for streaming that might not support the two completely separate independent left and right eyes. And so this is something that we do already. In fact, I think at NAB we showed this. We might have got the eyes reversed, I think, on the main stage in the dust of the show, but we actually do this.
Okay. And that's available on the 8000?
It is available on the 8000 today, yes.
Very good. All right, another question. What connection speed and type is required to stream a large production? That's from Mateo.
Okay, so that's going to depend really more. It's not so much about the production size as it is about the streaming needs. And there's a lot of different ways you can do this, and often you might find that you're limited by what bandwidth you have out of a facility. Now, obviously, the more bandwidth you have, the better. And if you're doing a large production and want to do all the encoding local to the production, what you would want is you'd want at least a megabit out if you're doing even medium res. I mean, you really would probably want more than that if you're doing all the encoding local to the to the production itself. Mm-hmm. But it's getting increasingly common to send a single stream out and then use some cloud service to redistribute that in many different formats. And that's particularly important because a lot of schools and stadiums actually have a limited upload pipe. It's much more common to have more limited upload than download pipes. Mm-hmm. And so it's getting pretty common. And there's a good number of services out there that will allow you to deliver a single high bandwidth stream to them, and then they will do the multi-bit encoding,
the reduced resolution
into different formats and so on for you. And so there are a lot of different options. It's not, you don't need to do everything locally anymore, and there's a lot of companies that can help you set up pretty complicated productions and streaming setups these days.
A lot of options are
yes.
becoming more and more apparent. Very good. Okay, do we have any other questions? Okay, Glenn Wokler asks, sports is an $80 billion industry. What ideas does Andrew have to apply the feature specifically to the 8000 to live sports, the live sports field, football, baseball, basketball, etc.?
Well, gosh.
I know there's a little football replacement for the T-bar handle, right?
Actually, we were joking about that when we were building the 8000 control surface, and we're going to make little longhorns because we're from Texas. We're going to make little longhorn handles, and it'd obviously increase sales in Texas a lot. But on a more serious note, obviously we have the ability to and bundled into the package to create your own transitions, and so you can easily put your logo, your football that make noise, the replay, all of these things. So that's trivial. But we have things like the tracking. And to be completely honest with you, the sky is your limit once you can start to track things that are going on the field. Mm-hmm. And you can tie those to macros, and you can then trigger those things based on hotspots. Honestly, I mean, the kind of things that you could do, it would, the mind boggles at the options, really. I mean,
well, of course, and also we have our 3-play multi-channel instant replay product that now networks into the TriCaster system. Absolutely. To save video inputs on the TriCaster as well. Absolutely. So you've got some integration. Absolutely. In that regard.
That's a great point. I mean, of course, obviously 3-play takes all sports production to a whole new level. Mm-hmm. And so, combining the two just I mean, the sky's your limit. I mean, you want to make a show at any level, you could certainly combine those two products to do it.
And one more thing is that the new Chiron IP certainly brings up a whole level of broadcast graphics. Absolutely. They've taken advantage of the IVGA technology in the TriCaster as well.
So yes, for the so if we can take video out the Chiron IP into the TriCaster, and the really cool thing about this is that because it's on the network, it uses all your existing infrastructure, and it sends the key and fill signals and potentially any audio all over that network. So you aren't eating up any actual any other inputs. And actually, we've got 2 network ins, so you can be feeding multiple streams of graphics with alpha and audio all at the same time.
Yep, it's very cool. All right, any more questions? Okay, Vern Rockcliffe asks, I'm interested in how this will enhance educational broadcasting, both classroom coverage, lectures, and streaming on-demand work.
Okay.
Well, overall, production value gives you some
Absolutely.
additional options, of
Yes,
course.
and of course we discussed. So in terms of like online, training and so on. I mean, look, we're doing a webinar right now which shows the kind of things that you can do. And we're here and we have an audience of hundreds and hundreds of people, and we didn't need to move to do that. So clearly, this allows anybody doing who wants to reach out to people and to broadcast people, and that can be for educational, it can be for religious, it can be for corporate uses. It allows anybody to do that in a way that really is incredibly easy, and you don't need to congregate all those people at the same place. And I think that is what this question is getting at, which is obviously education is taking advantage of the video online opportunities to grow their audience
for distance learning. Yeah,
absolutely, which is one of the things we've been talking about. Now we mentioned there was the great question about bringing camera feeds in, and obviously when it comes to distance learning, we've kind of answered that, which is you would easily be able to have somebody on another machine running multiple Skype. It could be the Citrix HD Faces product, and you could easily pull these into the TriCaster and use them as sources, so people could actually participate in the live broadcast and the live show.
and I mean, actually, there's a lot of stuff that applies in TriCaster in general, where you have network inputs, where you can bring in a variety of computers to display. So if you have students that are submitting work that needs to be displayed and broadcast, that can be done. Of course, Apple AirPlay, so you've got interactivity through iPad or iPhone. And then we also have, of course, streaming for distance learning. So there's really a lot of great features specifically for education that are currently actually across the TriCaster line.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Good question. Any more questions for us? Louis Diaz says, what type of processing power does the 8000 have? Lots of it.
Lots of
Loads and loads.
We used to say, powered by alien technology, and I think that's
still the case.
It's still the case. It's still there. Gosh, we take advantage of every last, mega flop in the computer, and we're using every part of it. We're using CPUs, GPUs, we're using the hardware encoding, and we've got custom, some magic FPGA stuff on top of that. I mean, we take advantage of every piece of technology that is available to us, and that's been our tradition, and we will continue to do that.
Absolutely.
So.
All right. Any other questions? What is the status of an external audio controller on the iPad for the TriCaster? It's from David Tong, and that's a very good question, isn't it, Andrew?
Well, if I had an iPad here, I'd be able to show it you. You can actually download it from the.
It's available
App Store
now
today. So that it's already shipping. That's a good question and an easy question.
And how much does it cost?
$0.
$0. So that's a freebie for you.
It is.
All right. Any other questions? How did you make it through the early skepticism with your strange ideas to now when there is a great deal of acceptance?
You might have to ask my wife how she got through the strange ideas.
And you still have all your hair.
Yeah, just about. It's going slightly grey. I've been here quite a long time. We just believe in the product we create. I mean, we have NewTek have been doing this for over 25 years. We have just stuck with what we're doing and make it better. And this is down to the vision of producers, and that has what's changed it for us, and and we're going to continue doing these same things. I mean, we have a vision of what video should be, and we truly believe that, and that is the passion that goes into the products, and and that is what we do, and I hope it shows, and we'll absolutely continue to do that.
Absolutely, and it's great to see how customers are using this technology, and being able to empower people to the whole democratization of television through internet streaming. I mean, it's just fantastic that we are able to be a part of that.
Absolutely, and not a day goes by where somebody doesn't send me something that they're doing with our product. I'm like, wow, I never thought of doing that, and that is the most amazing part of my job, is seeing how people take these tools that we develop and turn it into something more than even we had imagined. We thought of all these cool uses, and people come up with even more, and they combine different pieces and really make amazing stuff.
Very cool.
That's the best part of it.
So keep sending those examples of your work, because very inspiring here.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, I guess I think that's all the questions that we have for today. But before we leave, I want to tell you about some special offers from NewTek. Starting right now through December 28th, if you purchase a TriCaster 8000 system, you'll also receive Virtual Set Editor 2 and LiveText 2 at no additional charge. That's a savings of over $2,400. Or if you purchase TriCaster 855, you'll receive Virtual Set Editor 2, a savings of almost $1,500. Or if you purchase a TriCaster 455, you'll receive LiveText 2, again at no additional charge. And that's a savings of $995. Now you can find out more about these special savings by contacting your NewTek reseller and find out about the entire line of TriCaster products and which TriCaster is right for you. You just go to newtek.com for that. Well, once again, I want to thank Dr. Andrew Cross, looking very cool in his
I got more comments
shades.
about the shades when the promotion was, so I had to bring them along with me. But actually, it's kind of dark in here. But it was a pleasure to be here. This has been great fun. I've enjoyed it a great deal.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Andrew.
Well, thanks a lot.
Well, on behalf of Dr. Andrew Cross and myself and everyone at NewTek, thank you very much for joining us.